So last class रे हमें question number 16 टा छाड़ देइथिले. Which of the following inscriptions indicates that Ashoka did not abolish capital punishment? So I am sorry because I have not been able to research this question. Okay, एटा मु खोजिली but बहुत time गला हमर टिक अलगा काम थिला तो सेट टाइम एटा कंप्लीट करि पारलिन. So एटा हमें ए क्वेश्चन टा हमें नेक्स्ट क्लास रे ही देखिदबा. Okay, नेक्स्ट क्लास रे एटा हमें डील करिवा about the rock edicts and pillar edicts and cave edicts. Okay, এই क्वेश्चन टा नेक्स्ट क्लास रे देखिबा. ओके हमरो लास्ट क्लास रे क्वेश्चन नंबर 18 सरतला. सो लेट अस स्टार्ट विथ क्वेश्चन नंबर 19. तो नानकारा सिस्टम ऑफ विजयनगर एम्पायर वाज मॉडल्ड ऑन व्हाट. ओके, ऑप्शन सब देछि. तो नानकारा सिस्टम, सो आई हैव सोर्स दिस फ्रॉम द इग्नू मटेरियल. Nankara system, characteristic of Vijayanagara organization, military chiefs or warriors held the title of Nayaka or Amar Nayaka. Okay, so institution was studied in detail by two Portuguese travelers, the Ferrano Nunes and Domingo Paes. Okay, so Ferrano Nunes, he came during the reign of Achyuta Devarai. Okay, during the reign of Achyuta Devarai, he ruled from 1529 to 1542. So Achyuta Devarai, he was the younger brother of Krishna Devarai. Okay, so Nunes came during his period. Domingo Paes, he came during the reign of Krishna Devarai. Okay, KDR, Krishna Devarai, he came during this period, his reign from 1509 to 1529, 20 years. Okay, Domingo Paes came during his period, and both of these are Portuguese travelers. Okay, two Portuguese travelers. So okay, Krishnadevaraya and Achyutaraya Tuluva dynasty, 16th century. They have written that the Nayakas are agents of Rayas or the central government. Okay, so the evidence of Nunis for payments made by Nayakas to the Rayas shows that they had feudal obligations. Nayakas are territorial magnates. Territorial magnate means a person of authority that has significant social influence with political aspiration, which at times conflicted with the aims of the rulers. Again, ଆମେ ଏଟା ଦେଖିଥିଲେ ତମର ଯେମିତି ଦିଲ୍ଲୀ ସୁଲତାନେଟ ରେ Iltutmish, he introduced the Ikta system. Okay, so what is the Ikta system? It was considered like, it was divided like this, that the land was divided into smaller units called Iktas and granted to nobles, officials and soldiers for revenue collection and maintenance. Okay, so that was the Ikta system. Similarly, this Nankara system was similar to this Ikta system. Okay, answer tomorrow Ikta assignments of Sultanate habo. Okay, ଆଉ ଟିକେ ଦେଖିଦବା ତାପରେ ତମର ନାନକାରା ସିଷ୍ଟମ ଉପରେ. So Vijayanagara Empire was a military confederacy of many chieftains cooperating under leadership of the biggest among them. That was the king. Okay, so there was a growing threat from from Islam. So from Islamic invasions to the Vijayanagara Empire. So Vijayanagara rulers started adopting a military and religious stance. Okay, again, Nankara system is a kind of landlordism, like feudalism, in which land was allotted to Amar Nayakas for military services rendered to them by kings. The Nayakas had revenue rights over the land called Amaram. So Amaram can be a keyword, can be a future question. जो नायक माने नानकारा सिस्टम रो जो नायक माने तांको जो माने सेटा तांको जो रेवेन्यू राइट्स दिया गला जो लैंड ऊपर, that was called the Amaram. Okay, अमर जेंति अमर नायक तो अमर नायक को अमरम दिया जाउतला. Okay, so obligation and activities of the Nayakas were giving gifts to temples, repair and building tanks, reclamation of wasteland, collection of dues from temples. So जहा को जो लैंड दिया जीवो सेतरे मेंटेनेंस काम भी सेही नायक करिवो सेटिकार. Okay, again, commanders of the Vijayanagara army under Krishna Devaraya later established independent kingdoms also. Okay, जेतल central authority रे strong king रहिलेनी तमरे independent kingdom भी करिगले नायक kingdom. Again, to guard against such dangers, Vijayanagara kings tried to establish control over the coastal markets dealing with horse trade. So horse was significant. It was a determining factor for victory in war. Okay, so they tried to, the kings at the center tried to get control over coastal markets dealing in horse. They attempted to monopolize the purchase of horses of good quality by paying high price. They also built strong garrisons fortified with soldiers, trustworthy soldiers. All right. So Telugu Nayakas were a source of strength for Vijayanagara Empire, and also they became its rivals also. Okay. So it was modeled after the Ikta assignments of the Sultanate. modeled after the Ikta assignments of the Sultanate. अलगा ऑप्शन जेंति warfare of the Sultan legal system इतरे सेमति किछि नाही. It was modeled after the Ikta. Okay. तो Ikta आ गोटे सिस्टम थला तमर अयगार सिस्टम. तमे जेमति नयनकारा सिस्टम देखिलो तापरे अयगार सिस्टम गोटे थिला सेटिकार अयगार सिस्टम. So Aigars were village servants or functionaries constituted of group of families. Okay, got a group of family. So village को संभालिवे. So they were headmen called Reddy, Gowda, Maniam. Okay, accountant जेमती that is Karnam, Senabhobo and watchman like those are तलैयारी. So एक keyword ओडा मने रखिवो. Maybe ओडा question ही परिवो. Okay, future. So sometimes they had to pay a fixed rent, but generally the plots were manya. Manya mane free, tax free land. Okay, manya, no regularly customary tax was paid, except in exceptional cases. Direct payments in kind were also made for services performed by village functionaries. Alright, village functionaries जो मैंने मेंटेन करते तांको in kind भी पेमेंट दिया होतला. अलगा जो village servants, they were paid also paid by assigning plots of land, like washerman को किसी को plot दिया, priest को plot दिया जीवो. Alright, so village servants who provided ordinary goods, leather workers. तो सेठी गोटे लिफ्ट इरिगेशन डिवाइस गोटे लेखा ହେଇଥିଲା ଏଇ टेक्स्ट रे लिफ्ट इरिगेशन डिवाइसेस से जो तेलुगु कर्नाटक एरिया रो आंध्र और कर्नाटक एरिया रो लिफ्ट इरिगेशन सिस्टम किछि थिला. सो विलेज सर्वेंट्स हु प्रोवाइडेड ऑर्डिनरी गुड्स एंड सर्विसेज वर लेदर वर्कर्स. these leathers were included leather bags रा कोठी यूज होतला इन लिफ्ट इरिगेशन डिवाइसेस लाइक किया पिला और मुहते. ओके, तो एटा इंपोर्टेंट मन रखियो काहे ना यूपीएससी गोटे एथर ही पचारला आराघट्टा. ओके, आराघट्टा दैट वाज पर्शियन व्हील यूज्ड इन इरिगेशन. तो इरिगेशन भी गोटे थीम रिकरिंग थीम इन यूपीएससी. तो एटा यूपीएससी रे पचारि पारे, एटा यूपीएससी भी ताकू ताकू इमिटेट कर पारे यूपीएससी. ओके, सो किया पिला और मोहटे, दिस वाज a term related to the irrigation devices. Okay, potter, blacksmith, carpenter. Okay, so out achi Niranikar, who looked after maintenance of irrigation channels and supervised bankers and money lenders. Okay, Niranikar type of accountant. Okay, distinguishing feature of IGAR system is special allocation of income from land and specific cash flow were provided first time provided to village servants holding particular office. Okay, so type of decentralized authority. Okay, नयन ए दीटा हो नयनकारा system हो IGAR system हो. So both these systems were the backbone of Vijayanagara power. Okay, that decentralized administration into smaller units. Okay, so this was all about this question. Next question को जीवा. Okay, question 1920. Who among the following Mughal emperors, after his recovery from illness, wore pearl earring as a token of thanks to Sufis and Khaja Moinuddin Chishti? Okay, so एमतिया क्वेश्चन देखियो तमे यार सोर्स कोठी आगरो नथिबो तमे पाइ नथिबो तमे तमरो पेरिफेरल नॉलेज रो ही आइदर जदि किछ डिराइव करी करि परिबो नहले यू शुड लीव दिस क्वेश्चन. जेमति एथरा ओसीएस 2023 पचारतरा पोरुस अलेक्जेंडर को कोन देथिले गोटे मैंगो देथिले कि गिफ्ट स्टील ब्लेड देथिले कि बॉक्स ऑफ मैंगोस एमती कोन देथिले. ओके, तो से रिकवरी परे तांकर पर्ल इयरिंग पिंदिथिले एज अ टोकन ऑफ थैंक्स टू ख्वाजा मोइनुद्दीन चिश्ती. तो एमतिया क्वेश्चन ओडा बहुत ट्रिकी. हम पेरिफेरल नॉलेज आदि जदि किछि करि परिबो पेरिफेरल नॉलेज करिवो नहले यू शुड लीव दिस टाइप ऑफ क्वेश्चंस. ओके, तो ऑप्शन रो भी सेमति किछि जणा पड़नी. हुमायूं, अकबर, जहांगीर, शाहजहां. ओके, तो ये चार जन मुगल एम्परर्स करो तुम क्रोनोलॉजी देखि दो. बाबर he came in 1526 to 1530. ओके, मुगल एम्परर मान टिके देखि दवा क्रोनोलॉजी 1526 ରୁ 1530 एटा पूरा क्रोनोलॉजिकली ही दिया है जी. ओके, देन कम्स हुमायूं 1530 ରୁ 1556, अकबर 1556 ରୁ 1605. Then comes Jahangir. Jahangir was also called Prince Salim. Okay. Prince Salim 1605 to 1627. Right. Shahjahan tomorrow 1628 to 1658. Okay. या पर तमरा आसले औरंगजेब 1658 to 1707. एमती तापर बहुत जने मुगल एम्पायर रूलर्स आसले, बट दी 1857 rebellion पर the last emperor was Bahadur Shah Jafar, who was deposed by East India Company to Burma in 1858. Okay, so এটা মুঘল rulers chronology. तो ठीक है, आंसर हो यार सी. आंसर इज सी, जहांगीर. सो बट देखो ओपीएससी तार आंसर रे देइची बोथ बी एंड सी. ऑलराइट, बट मु देखि जे एटा पाइथली इट इज सी, जहांगीर हबो. बट ओपीएससी आंसर देइची बोथ बी एंड सी. So I don't think Akbar habo, but Akbar was also a devotee of Sufyan Moinuddin Chishti of the Chishti order, but ମୁଁ ବହୁତ ଜାଗାରେ ଦେଖିଲି ଜାହାଙ୍ଗୀର ହିଁ ଆନ୍ସର ଦେଇଛି. ସୋ ଆଇ ଷ୍ଟିକ୍ ଟୁ ଜାହାଙ୍ଗୀର. ଓକେ, ବଟ୍ ଓପିଏସସି ବି ସି ଦେଇଛି, ତ ଦିଟା ହିଁ ମାରିଲା, ତମର କୋଉଟା ବି ଗୋଟେ ମାରିଲା ଆନ୍ସର ଠିକ ହେଇଯିବ. ସୋ ମଇନୁଦ୍ଦିନ ଚିସ୍ତିଙ୍କ ଉପରେ ଦେଖିଦବା. ସୋ ହି ମଇନୁଦ୍ଦିନ ଚିସ୍ତି, ଏଇ ଯୋଉ ଚିସ୍ତି ଚିସ୍ତି ଇଜ ଏ order of Sufism. Okay, Sufism ର ବହୁତ ଗୁଡ଼ା order ଅଛି. Chishti order is one of them. This Chishti order was founded by Abu Ishaq Sami, founded by Khwaja. Okay, of Khwaja Abu Ishaq Sami at Chist place. Now it is in Afghanistan. Okay, he founded the Chishti order. This was founded around 930 AD. ओके, एई टाइम रे चिश्ती ऑर्डर रा फाउंडेशन हेइदला. तापरे ख्वाजा मोइनुद्दीन चिश्ती ही केम टू इंडिया. सो लेट अस लर्न अबाउट हिम. He was born in 1141 AD in Persia, modern day Iran. He began his spiritual journey after meeting mystic Ibrahim Kandoji, who was believed to be a descendant of Prophet Muhammad. Okay, so he studied various disciples in Bukhara and Samarkand. Bukhara and Samarkand, these both are in Uzbekistan now. All right, Uzbekistan. He was initiated into Chishti order by Khwaja Usman Haruni. Usman Haruni, এই দিন এই নাটা মনে রাখিও. এই তোমার এইটা মতে মনে রাখিও. He was his initial teacher, but he was initiated into the Chishti order by Khwaja Usman Haruni. This এইটা থেকে মনে রাখিও, near Herat. Herat, as you all know, it is also in Afghanistan. Okay, it is in Afghanistan, Herat. So Ajmer को सीखवे आसले. He arrived to Ajmer in 1192 AD after the decline of Chauhan dynasty after its defeat by Muhammad of Ghor. Okay, so Chauhan dynasty, Prithviraj Chauhan, he was defeated by Muhammad of Ghor in the second battle of Taren. Second battle of Taren in 1192. Okay, so after this defeat, he arrived. Moinuddin Chisti arrived in Ajmer. So ତାଙ୍କର ଗୋଟେ title ଅଛି. He was called the Garib Nawaz, that is friend of people. He earned this title for selfless service, including established refugee camp and langar khana, that is community kitchen for homeless and needy. Okay, langar khana. So his teachings, he engaged with Hindu mystics and sages, promoting common values of devotion, rejection of religious orthodoxy, and love, divine love and equality. So he popularized Sufism. Okay. See, he helped spread the Chishti order, founded in 10th century. Okay, that was founded by, as you have seen, Abu Ishaq Sami. Okay. Prominent disciples, Nijamuddin Aulia is one of the prominent disciples, and Kutubuddin Bakhtiyar Kaki. Okay, so Mughal patronage Emperor Akbar held Moinuddin Chishti in great reverence, visited his shrine and beautified Ajmer, significantly contributing to revival of the city. Okay, so Akbar was also a devotee of Chishti, but ତମେ ଯଦି ତମ peripheral knowledge ଦେଖିଥିବ ଭାବିଥିବ Akbar ଯେହେତୁ Akbar followed the policy of Sulikul. Okay, Sulikul, that is Sulikul means peace with all. Okay, Akbar followed the policy of Sulikul, that is peace with all. That means that means ତମ ସବୁ ରିଲିଜନ କୁ ଟଲରେଟ କରିବ. ଆଉ ତାପରେ ବି ଅକବର ବି ନିଜର ରିଲିଜନ ଷ୍ଟାର୍ଟ କରିଥିଲେ ଦିଲ୍ଲୀ ଇଲାଇ. ଓକେ, ସୋ ମେ ବି ଯଦି ଅକବର ଆଉ ଜାହାଙ୍ଗୀର ଭିତରେ ଦେଖିବ ତ ଅକବର ମେ ବି ସେ ଏମିତି ଗୋଟେ କାମ କରିବେନି କି ଗୋଟେ ରିଲିଜନ ପାଇଁ ହିଁ ସେ ଗୋଟେ ଇୟରିଂ ପିନ୍ଧିବେ. ଓକେ, ତ ଅକବର ୱାଜ କାଇଣ୍ଡ ଅଫ ସେକୁଲାର. ଓକେ, ତ ସେକୁଲାର ଯେହେତୁ ସେ କୌଣସି ଗୋଟାଏ order को follow करिवा, I think that will be difficult for Akbar to do. Okay, so that's why I have eliminated Akbar. Even though ସେ ମାନୁଥିଲେ ଚିସ୍ତିଙ୍କୁ ମାନୁଥିଲେ, but ତାଙ୍କ ପାଇଁ ସେ ଗୋଟେ permanent କିଛି ଗୋଟେ ଜିନିଷ ପିନ୍ଧିକି ରଖିବେ. So ଏଇଟା ମେ ବି ନ ହେଇପାରେ. So I thought that ସେଇ ଲଜିକ ରେ ମୁଁ ଅକବରକୁ ଏଲିମିନେଟ କଲି. ଜାହାଙ୍ଗୀର ବି ଦେଖିଲି, ସେ ଜାହାଙ୍ଗୀର ଆକ୍ଚୁଆଲି ଆମେ ଦେଖିବା ଏବେ ଜାହାଙ୍ଗୀର ଉପରେ. ଓକେ, about ଜାହାଙ୍ଗୀର we'll see. So Jahangir early life. So he was born as Nuruddin Muhammad Salim, that is Prince Salim. Okay. So he was named after Sufi saint Sheikh Salim Chishti, who predicted his birth. Okay. So यांको नारे शेख सलीम चिश्ती को नारे जहांगीर को ना दिया ओके तो ये ही ताकर बेसी फॉलोअर थिले ओके सो एटा ही आंसर बिकॉज़ ताकर एटा ही देखिछि बिकॉज़ आफ्टर हिज इलनेस सी तापरे सी चिश्ती को नारे इयरिंग पिंदिले ओके तो एटा गोटे जिनस देखिबो तमरा हम जेन देखिले क्रोनोलॉजी जहांगीर का टाइम होची 1605 टू 1627 बट मोइनुद्दीन चिश्ती 1491 टू ताकर ओके सो ही डाइड लॉन्ग बिफोर जहांगीर ओके almost 500 years ओके नूरुद्दीन मोहम्मद सलीम प्रिंस सलीम तो फादर होचंती अकबर मदर होचंती मरियम और जमानी so he rebelled in 1599 while Akbar was campaigning in the Deccan okay despite the rebellion Akbar named him successor so he became emperor in 1605 taking the title of Jahangir that is world Caesar so he faced again Prince, okay, Prince Salim also means Jahangir also. He faced rebellion from his son Prince Khusrau, okay, who was supported by Sikh Guru Arjan Dev. All right. So Sikh Guru Arjan Dev, से तांको so he supported Jahangir's son Prince Khusrau. He was the fifth Sikh Guru. Fifth Sikh Guru, Khusrau was captured and blinded. Guru Arjan Dev was arrested and executed. Okay, solidifying Jahangir's authority. So, because of this action of executing Guru Gobind Dev, and again we have also seen Aurangzeb also executed Sikhs. Okay, because of this action, Jahangir was unpopular among the Sikhs. Okay, the administrative reforms he introduced the Janjir-e-Adal, that is chain of justice at Agra Port. It according any subject can pull the chain and directly seek the emperor's justice. Okay, so this is a I think this measure was out of that time. Okay, এটা মানে directly ସେ ତାଙ୍କ ପ୍ରଜାଙ୍କ ସାଙ୍ଗରେ କଥା ହେବା ପାଇଁ ଚେଷ୍ଟା କରୁଥିଲେ. Okay, to give justice directly from the emperor. Okay, military reforms he introduced the do aspa and see aspa system where nobles maintained 2x or 3x horsemen without a change in jat rank. Rajput policy continued Rajput alliances through marriage. Okay, again employed kiladars and faujdars continued Akbar's production-based tax system. This was adopted by Akbar on the recommendation of Raja Todarmal. Okay, so he aimed to reduce peasant burden, improve agricultural productivity. He maintained religious tolerance like Akbar, but he showed more patronage towards Islam, but upheld Mughal secularism. Okay, but he was more inclined towards Islam. He supported Islamic customs, arts and culture. He hosted William Hawkins, who was the British agent who was unsuccessful in getting trade permission. Again, he hosted Sir Thomas Roe, who was envoy of King James, who secured the right to set up a British factory at Surat. So, as we know, first East India Company factory was established at Surat in 1613. Okay, 1613 on the basis of the permission got by Sir Thomas Roe from Jahangir. Okay. So it okay and cultural and artistic contribution. He patronized Persian writers. He wrote his own memoir that is Tujuk-i-Jahangiri. He ନିଜେ ଲେଖିଥିଲେ ଏଇଟା. He wrote poetry under the name Nuruddin Muhammad Jahangir. He built the Shalimar Gardens at Lahore. He completed Akbar's mausoleum at Sikandra. He built Itimad-ud-Dawla tomb that is Noor Jahan's father. याଙ୍କର tomb से तैयारी करଥିଲେ. This is the first Mughal structure made entirely of white marble. Okay, this is the tomb of Noor Jahan's father. Noor Jahan was the wife of Jahangir. Painting, he elevated the Mughal miniature painting started by Akbar. He also employed artists like Akka Riza and his son Abdul Hassan, promoted naturalism, botanical art, so ଗଛପତ୍ରଙ୍କ art, and individual portraits. He popularized Murakkas, that is individual painting. Individual ଲୋକଙ୍କର portrait ଯୋଉଗୁଡା ମୁଗଲ ପେଣ୍ଟିଂ ଆଗରୁ ଥିଲା ଗୋଟେ ଫ୍ରେମ ରେ ବହୁତ ଗୁଡା ଲୋକ ଥିଲେ ଆଉ ତା ଚାରିପଟେ ସବୁ ଗଛ ପତ୍ର ସବୁ ଥିବ botanical elements okay but he popularized the painting of individuals okay again it is said that this individual painting he was influenced from the British okay so he shifted artistic tradition from manuscripts to albums and portraits. Jahangir so he maintained administrative continuity, again nurtured cultural sophistication, chain of justice. Again, I said it was something out of his times, lasting symbol of his commitment to public grievance redressal. He laid the groundwork for Shah Jahan's cultural journey in Mughal India. Okay, so तुम्हें एटा भी तुम्हारा chain of justice जोड़ा तो एटा तमे मे बी आई थिंक तमरा गवर्नेंस तमे एथिक्स जीएस पर गोटे एग्जांपल दे परियो जे जेतु जहांगीर एते बड़ राजा हे कि भी से पब्लिक रो ग्रीवेंस को सुनिया को इंपोर्टेंस मानिले सो दैट्स व्हाई ही इंट्रोड्यूस द सिस्टम ऑफ जंजीरी आदिल ओके तो मे बी एटा तमे दे परियो जीएस फॉर गवर्नेंस रो एज एन एग्जांपल ओके so this is all about Jahangir. Then Sufism as you all know, this is just like the Bhakti movement, very contemporary to Bhakti movement, Sufi movement that rejected the religious orthodoxy and said that the direct connect between God and devotees is possible through devotion. No middleman is needed. Okay, for the link between God and the devotee. Okay, Sufism को तमरो tasawuf भी कहा जाए. Okay, Sufism is an English word. The word used for Sufism in Islamic text is tasawuf. Tasawuf is the Islamic word for Sufism. All right. Some say this word is derived from suf, that is meaning wool, referring to the coarse woolen clothes worn by Sufis. Others derive it from safa, meaning purity. Okay. So it may have also been derived from safa, that is the platform outside Prophet's mosque, where a group of close followers assembled to learn about the faith. Okay. So जो मानको mainstream orthodox religion से माने allow करनुଥିଲେ, Sufism they introduced that religion can be is accessible to everyone. Okay. So এটা গলা এই কোশ্চেনটা গলা now Khalsa the Society of the Pure was founded in okay so आंसर तो 1699 हबो ता या पर टिक लिख दबा खालसा ऊपर खालसा Khalsa refers to both a community that adheres to Sikhism, or special group of initiated Sikhs. Okay, so this Khalsa was founded in 1699 by the 10th Sikh Guru, that is Guru Gobind Singh, following the execution of his father Guru Tegh Bahadur under the Islamic rule of Aurangzeb. Okay, Aurangzeb, as we all know, his reign lasted till 1707. So, option D is 1699 रे Khalsa theory ala. Okay, this is the end of Aurangzeb's rule. So, okay, 1699 by the 10th Sikh Guru, that is Guru Gobind Singh. So, तमे जानछो then the यांको पर 10th Sikh Guru पर 11th Sikh Guru is the Guru Granth Sahib. That is the eternal Guru. Okay, this Guru Granth Sahib has hymns and writings of Sikh Gurus. Also, it also has instructions from the Hindu saints, Muslim saints also. Okay, तमरा कबीर कर भी अछि, रविदास कर भी अछि. Okay, लल्लेश्वरी देवी कर भी अछि. सब बहुत गुडे sufficients ମାନଙ୍କର ବି education ଅଛି ତମର ଗୁରୁ ଗ୍ରନ୍ଥ ସାହିବ ରେ. ଗୁରୁ ଗ୍ରନ୍ଥ ସାହିବ is the 11th Guru. Okay. So Khalsa was created as a warrior community to protect the innocent from religious persecution. Its formation is pivotal, celebrated during the Vaisakhi festival. Okay. It replaced the earlier Masand system and established a new institution for Sikh leadership. Okay. So what is this Masand system? এটা মেবি পচারি পারে এটা কেবে পচারনি. Okay. So this Masand system, a Manji system, what is Guru Sikh Manakara? This Manji system was introduced by the third Guru, Guru Amar Das. Okay, Guru Amar Das introduced the Manji system, but again, they are the functionaries who acted on behalf of Guru in spreading the Sikh teaching, aided also with collecting on his behalf offerings from followers. Okay, so these followers they came to be called Masand. Okay, so ଏ ଯୋଉ ମସନ ସିଷ୍ଟମ ସୋ ଆକ୍ଚୁଆଲି ଏଇଟା ଗୋଟେ ଗୋଟେ କ୍ରୁଡ ଫର୍ମରେ ଷ୍ଟାର୍ଟ ହେଇଥିଲା ବାଇ ଥର୍ଡ ଗୁରୁ ଗୁରୁ ଅମର ଦାସ ବଟ୍ ଇଟ ୱାଜ ଆକ୍ଚୁଆଲି it actually became an institution during Guru Arjan Dev. Okay, Guru Arjan Dev is the fifth Sikh Guru. Okay, fifth Sikh Guru. So this Guru, as you have seen, Guru Arjan Dev was executed by Jahangir for helping Prince Khusrau. Okay, Guru Arjan Dev is the fifth Guru. Uh, he institutionalized the system of Masand. Okay, Masand mane kon? They acted on behalf of Guru to spread Sikh teachings and collect offerings from followers. Okay, Guru Arjan Dev Ji added a principle of that 1/10 of an individual's income is payable for the Guru's langar, that is common kitchen. Okay, and for other acts of benevolence on behalf of poor. So fifth Sikh Guru, in order to meet the cost of langar and providing free accommodation to visitors, and also the cost of construction of the Amrit Sarovar, that is and the Harmandir Sahib, the Divine Temple, okay, the Amritsar Temple, Golden Temple. He introduced the Das Band system. Das Band mane Sikh mane voluntarily contribute karibe 10% of their income for charitable purpose. Okay, এই जो Masan system, this helped in expansion of Sikh faith and in knitting together centers established in far-flung places. Okay, so this was all about the Masan system. But again, the Masons enjoyed status of Guru's representatives, and they sought to spread Sikh faith, consolidate this religious structure. But as time passed by, they became neglectful and took to personal aggrandizement. Okay, तो गुरु को नारे पैसा आनिबे बट निजर फुलफिल करिवे नीड्स. ओके, निजर नीड्स तो न निजर लग्जरीज ऊपर से खर्च कले. ओके, गुरु गोविंद सिंह, as you have seen, he is the last guru, the 10th Sikh guru. He charged the Masand with corruption and oppression, and those found guilty were punished. Guru Gobind Singh abolished the institution of Masand. Okay, so started by Guru Arjan Dev. Okay, started by Guru Amar Das in a crude form, the Manchi system, then institutionalized permanently by Guru Arjan Dev and abolished by Guru Gobind Singh, the last Sikh guru. Okay, so this was the Masand system in Sikhism. So aguru thila Masand system, aguru thila Masand system. Okay, ତାପରେ ଆସିଲା ଖାଲସା. The Khalsa offered both political and religious identity for Sikh community. Upon initiation into Khalsa system, men received the title of Singh, that is lion. Women received the title of Kaur, that is princess. Okay. Code of conduct कौन? ସେମାନେ tobacco ଖାଇବେନି, intoxication କରିବେନି, adultery କରିବେନି, कुट्ठा meat, this is religiously slaughtered meat. Okay. ଯେମିତି जोटा कि religious instruction रे slaughter ହେଇଛି, जोटा कि इस्लाम रे जेମିତି halal meat, तमर Jewish रे जेମିତି kosher meat. Okay. So ritually slaughtered ଯେମିତି ତମର ଇସଲାମ ରେ halal meat, ତମର Jewish faith ରେ kosher meat. Okay, so they said ki slaughter of animal for a religious purpose leads to unnecessary violence. Okay, तो एମିତି religion ना रे जदि किसी animal को मरा जाओ से meat खाइबेनी, that is called the kutta meat. Okay, dress code that is started by the Khalsas, the 5K, ଏଇଟା ମନେ ରଖିବ, ତମର ମେ ବି ପଚାରି ପାରେ କୋଉଥିରେ ବି. Okay, this was initiated by Guru Gobind Singh, that is case, that is uncut hair, kangha, that is wooden comb, kara, that is steel, iron or steel bracelet, kirpan is sword, kachera, that is short breeches. Okay, ତ ଏଇଟା ତମର केस. ओके, तमरो नेचुरल फ्लो जहाँ भी हेयर नेचुरल फ्लो अछि तमे सेटा को डिस्टर्ब करिवोनी. नेचुरल जहाँ हेयर आसीबो. कंघा, दैट इज वुडन कॉम, गोटे कंघा रखिबो. ओके, किरपन, दैट इज द सोर्ड, कड़ा, दैट इज द आयरन ब्रेसलेट इन हैंड्स, दैट इज कड़ा जोटा कहउछंती, एंड कचरा इज द शॉर्ट इन द जो शॉर्ट टाइप ऑफ पैंट्स जस्ट अबव द नी. ओके, नी अबव रे शॉर्ट टाइप ऑफ पैंट्स. ओके, दैट इज द कचरा. तो गोटे सिख ड्यूटी होची ए पांचटा जिंस, दिस 5 केस दे मस्ट adhere to. ओके, मैंडेटरी प्रोविजंस ऑफ खालसा एज पर गुरु गोविंद सिंह: डू नॉट डिस्टर्ब नेचुरल हेयर ग्रोथ, डू नॉट ईट कुट्ठा मीट, डू नॉट एंगेज इन adultery, extramarital affairs, do not consume tobacco, alcohol, drugs. Okay, so this was all about this question. I think we have covered everything. The Khalsa system. Khalsa means the Society of the Pure. Okay, founded in 1699 by Guru Gobind Singh Ji. All right. So next question is the Maratha claim for revenue for protection. Revenue for protection. ये जो चार्टा का देइची revenue system ठीक है देखी दवा. So okay, just so these are the different taxes during the medieval India. During medieval India. So chauth, ଆମେ ଯେମିତି ଦେଖିଲେ chauth, it is chauth माने 1/4. Okay, 1/4 of the land revenue of an undefined belt of land paid to Marathas by Mughals and the native rulers, so that these areas would not be subjected to Maratha raids. Okay, so Marathas मान को अलगा states माने they call them predatory states because they raided the territory of their neighbors. Okay, तो जदि तमे चाहुच आम टेरिटोरी को रेड न हो ताहले तुमको गोटे टैक्स देवा पड़ियो. दैट टैक्स इज चौथ. चौथ मीन्स तमरो 1/4 ऑफ द रेवेन्यू. ओके, दैट इज द चौथ. Sardeshmukhi is the levy of 10% on those lands of Maharashtra over which Marathas claimed hereditary rights. Okay, that is 1/10th. Okay, 10% means 1/10th. Okay, Sardeshmukhi. Desh, DSH. ये जो देश माने 10, तमे 10 भाई परिवार देश. ओके, तो Sardeshmukhi is 1/10. that 1/10 of additional levy on the lands over which Marathas had hereditary rights. ଯୋଉଠୁ ସେମାନେ all this Sardeshmukhi tax was collected from those areas under Maratha control. Chauth was collected from those areas that was not under Maratha control. Okay, so that is protection money. Okay, so Maratha claim for revenue for protection. The protection from whom? Protection from Maratha themselves. Okay, ଯଦି ପଇସା ନ ଦବା ଆମେ ରେଡ୍ କରିବୁ. Okay, so that is the chauth. तो चौथ और स्वदेशमुखी जामा और अबवाब देखिदवा. ओके, तो अबवाब it is a miscellaneous cess and tax levied by जमींदार्स and public officials on individuals. ओके, तो जमींदार और public officials माने चाहिले तांकर डिस्क्रिप्शन में किछ टैक्स पकई परिबे. दैट इज अबवाब. आउ किछ किछ टैक्स देखिदवा. जिजिया, religious tax paid by all jimmis, that is non Muslims in an Islamic state. Kharaj, that is the land revenue in Muslim United States of medieval India, that is Kharaj. Khum, 1/5, that is 1/5 share of state in war booty, okay, and treasures, mines, okay, but became 4/5 during the time of Alauddin Khilji. Okay, that is Khum. Khayar, taxes other than land revenue, mostly transit duty, transport duty. Okay, Zakat, religious tax paid by all the wealthy Muslim in an Islamic state for the maintenance of their unfortunate Muslims. Okay, Hasil, हासिल is the land revenue collected or realized from an estate or area. Okay, तो देखो ये जो हासिल और जामा भितर टिके डिफरेंस देख दबो. हासिल is the land revenue collected from an area. Okay, from an specific area. What is jama? Jama is the total land revenue levied. Total land revenue are expected from an estate or area. Okay, जेमती तमरो total land revenue for total दिल्ली सुल्तानेट अंडर रे जत्तक लैंड अछि तार टोटल केते, सेटा होची जामा. ओके, हासिल होची गोटे पर्टिकुलर एरिया रो केते लैंड एरिया. ओके, पूरा एंटायर टोटल एरिया जोटा सेटा जामा, पर्टिकुलर एरिया रो दैट इज हासिल. ओके, हाट तुम जानছো विलेज फेयर. इनाम इज द रेवेन्यू फ्री लैंड गिफ्ट फ्रॉम a person in authority to someone for service. Ikta, as you have seen, land whose revenues are assigned to government officials in lieu of their salaries to Delhi Sultanate. Jagir, Mughal equivalent to Ikta of the Delhi Sultans. Okay, इक्ता जेमती तमर दिल्ली सुल्तानेट चलता मुगल माने जागीर करुले. ओके, जागीर सेम सिस्टम. तो वी हैव सीन स्वदेशमुखी, चौथ, जामा, अबवाब. आउ किछि किछि टर्म्स गुडा अछि, एटा टिके देखिदबो. एटा मे बी के जे पचारि पारा फ्यूचर रे एग्जाम रे. ओके, आउ हासिल और जामा भितर डिफरेंस कहली. ओके, सो नाउ कम्स द नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन. तो बॉम्बे acquired by the English originally belong to, so এটা डायरेक्ट तमरो स्पेक्ट्रम रही अछि. ओके, yeah, the English company did not have a smooth progress. It had to contend with Portuguese and the Dutch, but the changing situation. Okay, okay, Bombay had been gifted to King Charles II by the King of Portugal as a dowry when Charles II married the Portuguese princess Catherine in 1662. So 1662 re initially Bombay belonged to Portuguese, but that was given as dowry to the British. Okay, Bombay was given over to East India Company on an annual payment of £10 only. All right. Later, Bombay was made headquarters by shifting seat of the Western Presidency. First thila Surat रे, तापरे shift हला Bombay in 1687. So simple question directly from spectrum. এই কোশ্চেনটা দেখিবা. Mercantilist, free trade mercantil. Okay, mercantilist. देखो एटा I am sure that OPSC टा spelling mistake ହିଁ କରିଛି. Okay, तो देखिदवा. Mercantilist, free trade mercantile capitalism, finance imperialism are three successive phases of British colonialism. This theory was first formulated by whom? Okay, so এটা mercantilist हबनी, this is mercantilism. ଆମେ ଯେମିତି 2018 ରେ ଦେଖିଥିଲେ OPSC ବହୁତ ସ୍ପେଲିଂ ମିଷ୍ଟେକ୍ କରିଛି. ଏବେ ବି ଏଇ କ୍ଲାସ ରେ ବି ଆମେ ଦେଖିବା OPSC ଆଉ ଗୋଟେ ଜାଗାରେ ସ୍ପେଲିଂ ମିଷ୍ଟେକ୍ କରିଛି. ଓକେ, ଏଇଟା ସେ କରିବା କଥା ନୁହଁ, ବଟ୍ ଇଟ୍ ହାଜ ଡନ୍ ଲାଇକ୍ ଦ୍ୟାଟ୍. So mercantilism, free trade mercantile capitalism and finance imperialism are three successive stages. This theory was first formulated by whom? So option is Karl Marx, दादाभाई नारोजी, B.R. अम्बेडकर, आरसी दत्त. ओके, आरसी दत्त आमे आरसी दत्त को ऊपर आमे देखिचे हमरो OCS 2018 रे 2018 क्वेश्चन नंबर 28 रे आमे ऑलरेडी देखिचे. ऑलराइट, आमे एटा देखिचे. देखो दिस इज द इंपोर्टेंस ऑफ डूइंग प्रीवियस ईयर क्वेश्चन. आरसी दत्त और आरपी दत्त ओके एटा हमें देखी जे तमरा आरसी दत्त एज वी हैव सीन एटी आरसी दत्त को देखि दवा आउथर देख दवा ओके सो he was the Romesh Chandra Dutt. So he became president in 1899 Lucknow session of Congress. He was a Indian civil service. He was an officer in the Indian civil service. Even in civil service, he was an orator and he was not afraid to express his views about the cause of poverty in India, problems of administration, and the Ilbert Bill. All right. So, his first book was Economic Problems of Cultivators, was Peasantry of Bengal. Ideas expanded in out of Famines in India, published in 1900. Again, this in this book, he argued that over assessment of land revenue that over assessment of land revenue ହବାରୁ ହିଁ ତମର ଆଉ ହେବାରୁ ହିଁ ତମର ସବୁବେଳେ famine ହଉଛି okay so his great work following India under early British rule 1757 to 1837 this is a book by him economic history of India in the Victorian age this is another book so because of this economic because he was a civil servant he had he had grassroots reality he was familiar with the grassroots reality okay so because of his analysis he is also called the father of economic nationalism in India. All right. He is the father of economic nationalism. That is R.C. Dutt, Ramesh Chandra Dutt. Then comes Dadabhai Naroji. ଗୋଟେ ଜିନିଷ ଦେଖିଦବ ଆମେ ଯୋଉ drain of wealth theory ଯୋଉ ଦେଖୁଛେ we attribute that to Dadabhai Naroji. Okay. But okay so ସେଟା ମୁଁ ଏଠି include କରିନି but see please note Dadabhai Naroji did not develop the drain of wealth theory on his own okay on his own so he took the help of DC Vacha okay RC Dutt as you have seen Dadabhai Naroji and others they together एमाने सब मिसिकी drain of wealth theory टाको गोटे theory create करथले ओके तो एटा हम स्पेक्ट्रम रे डायरेक्टली मेंशन होईची तो एई जगहटा स्पेस खाली अछि मुई एई जगह रे तुमको से फोटोटा अटैच करिकी एटा जतल देबी तुम टेलीग्राम रे एटा हम फोटो अटैच करिकी दे देबी ओके सो এটা ମୁଁ କହିନି but ମୁଁ attach କରିଦେବି photo so drain of wealth theory ତମର exclusive it is attributed to Dadabhai Naroji but it was developed by Dadabhai Naroji along with many others okay so ସେଇଟା ଆମେ ଦେଖିଦବା ଦାଦାଭାଇ ନାରୋଜି ଅପସନ ଓକେ ଏଟା ଆମେ ଲାଷ୍ଟ କ୍ଲାସ ବି ଦେଖିଦେଲା ଦାଦାଭାଇ ନାରୋଜି ଉପରେ ତ ଆଉ ଥରେ ଆଉ ଦେଖିବାନି ଓକେ ୟୁ କ୍ୟାନ୍ ୱାଚ୍ ଦ ଲାଷ୍ଟ କ୍ଲାସ B.R. ଆମ୍ବେଦକର ଆମେ ଜାଣିଛୁ ୟାଙ୍କ ଉପରେ କିଛି କହିବା ଦରକାର ନାହିଁ ଓକେ କାର୍ଲ ମାର୍କ୍ସ ଅଲରାଇଟ୍ କାର୍ଲ ମାର୍କ୍ସ ସୋ କାର୍ଲ ମାର୍କ୍ସ ର ତମେ ଯଦି ଟାଇମିଂ ଦେଖିବ ହି ୱାଜ 1818 ରୁ 1883 ଓକେ ତ ତାଙ୍କର ସେଇ ଟାଇମ ରେ ସେ କରିଥିଲେ ସୋ କୌଣସି ବି ଏମିତି ତାଙ୍କର କାର୍ଲ ମାର୍କ୍ସଙ୍କର ଏମିତି କିଛି ସ୍କଲାରଲି ୱାର୍କ ନାହିଁ that is exclusively dedicated for India only ଓକେ ତାଙ୍କର ଯୋଉ କମ୍ୟୁନିଜିମ ଉପରେ ଯାହା ବି ୱାର୍କ ଅଛି that is dedicated to the Asiatic societies ଓକେ ଏସିଆଟିକ ଦେଖ ସେମାନେ societies କୁ ମୋଡ ଅଫ ପ୍ରଡକ୍ସନ କୁହନ୍ତି କମ୍ୟୁନିଷ୍ଟ ମାନେ ଓକେ ଏସିଆଟିକ societies Asiatic societies or Asiatic mode of production society को मार्क्सिस्ट माने मोड ऑफ प्रोडक्शन भी कहती ओके सो हिज वर्क्स आर एट्रिब्यूटेड टू एशियाटिक सोसाइटी तो सेतरे ब्रिटिश कैपिटलिज्म को क्रिटिसाइज कराइछि बट ब्रिटिश रा कॉलोनी इंक्लूडिंग समस्त की कराइछि इंडिया ऊपर कहिसंती बट एक्सक्लूसिवली इंडिया ऊपर सेमती किछि कहिनांती ओके एक्सक्लूसिवली फॉर इंडिया तो इंडिया हैज बीन एनालाइज्ड बट इन ए ब्रॉड कॉन्टेक्स्ट इन दी साउथ एशिया कॉन्टेक्स्ट ओके तो कार्ल मार्क्स जेहेतु तांकर 1883 जाय रहले तो मे बी एटा न ही थई पारे ओके कार्ल मार्क्स ओके बाकी तीन जन जाक इंडियन रहले यांको भितर कोटा कोटा हबो सो देखो एठी भी ओपीसी स्पेलिंग मिस्टेक करछि एटा आरसी दत्त नुहे आरसी दत्त आई नो ही वाज द फादर ऑफ इकोनॉमिक नाशनलिज्म बट ए जो एनालिसिस टा दिस वाज डन बाय आरपी दत्त okay this was done by RP Dutt again last amaro se dekhiju eti एथर ऑप्शन थिला आरसी दत्त एंड आरपी दत्त we have seen in the last class that is Rajni Palme Dutt he was the nephew of RC Dutt okay so he was a Marxist okay he was a Marxist as we have seen in the last session in the previous sessions okay he analyzed Marxism in the Indian context okay he has analyzed Marxism in the Indian context ଆଉ ଏଇ ଯୋଉ capitalism ର ଏଇ ଯୋଉ ତିନିଟା stage this mercantilism, free trade mercantile capitalism and finance imperialism. Okay, what imperialism theory ଅଛି. Okay, this theory of imperialism was developed by Lenin. Okay, according to Lenin, so according to Lenin, he has said that imperialism is the highest form of capitalism. Okay, so imperialism is the highest form of capitalism, and he has given imperialism तीनटा stage रे हुए. That is mercantilism or early trading empires, industrial capitalism, then finance capitalism. तो लेनिन फर्स्ट ए थ्योरी को डेवलप कले. लेनिन को ए थ्योरी को आरपी दत्त इंडिया कॉन्टेक्स्ट रे अप्लाई करिकी कहिसंती ए देइसंती. These three successive stages of British colonialism. Okay, so तमरा spectrum रे ए जिनसटा भी डायरेक्ट लिखिची. Character of British rule in India did not remain the same through its long history, nearly 2 centuries. The changing pattern of British position led to changes in nature of British colonialism. Marxist historians, especially Rajni Palme Dutt, this is R.P. Dutt, he has identified 3 overlapping stages in the history of imperialist rule in India. Okay, and each stage developed out of the conditions of previous stage. Okay, of the previous stage, ଯେମିତି ଆମେ ଦେଖିଥିଲୁ Roscoe's theory of economic growth. Okay, each stage grew out of the conditions of previous stage and the different models of colonial exploitation overlapped. Okay, leading into new patterns of exploitation. Okay, so RP Dutt, so OPSC ଭୁଲଟା କରିବା କଥା ନୁହଁ, ଏଠି RC Dutt ଦେଇଛି. This will be RP Dutt, answer will be C. Okay, answer will be C, but OPSC ଟା ଭୁଲ ଦେଇଛି. All right, this will be RP Dutt. This is the correct answer. Okay, तो ଏଇ ଜିନିଷଟା ଟିକେ ବୁଝିଦବା ଏବେ. ଏଇ ଯୋଉ stages of ଯୋଉ ସବୁ ଦିଆ ହେଇଛି, ତ ଏଇଟା ଟିକେ ବୁଝିଦବା. ଏଇଟା କେମିତି ତମ ମେନ୍ସ ରେ ବି ତମେ ଏ ଆନାଲିସିସ୍ ଟା ୟୁଜ କରିପାରିବ. ଏଟା ତମ ସ୍ପେକ୍ଟ୍ରମ ରେ ବି ଦେଇଛି, ବଟ୍ ଆଇ ୱିଲ୍ ଏକ୍ସପ୍ଲେନ୍ अगेन. ଓକେ, ତ ଇମ୍ପେରିଆଲିଜମ ତିନିଟା ଷ୍ଟେଜ ରେ ଆସେ. ଓକେ, ଫାର୍ଷ୍ଟ ଇଜ ମର୍କାଟାଲିଜମ ଅର अर्ली ट्रेडिंग एम्पायर्स. ତ ଫାର୍ଷ୍ଟ କଣ କରନ୍ତି, ଇମ୍ପେରିଆଲିଷ୍ଟ ମାନେ ଆସିକି, ମର୍କାଣ୍ଟାଲିଜମ ମିନ୍ସ ମର୍ଚାଣ୍ଟ ମାନେ ଆସିବେ ନିଜର ମୋନୋପୋଲି ଏଷ୍ଟାବ୍ଲିଶ କରିବେ. ओके, मोनोपोली एस्टाब्लिश करिवे. तो ସେମାନେ ଆସିଲେ ଫାର୍ଷ୍ଟ ତମର लोकल कंपटीशन को काटिवे, ନିଜର मोनोपोली एस्टाब्लिश करिवे. ओके, तो दिस इज द फेज ऑफ मर्केंटाइलिज्म वेयर मर्चेंट्स विल कम एंड एस्टाब्लिश देयर मोनोपोली. देन कम्स इंडस्ट्रियल कैपिटलिज्म, दैट इज इंपेरियलिज्म ऑफ फ्री ट्रेड. एबे मोनोपोली एस्टाब्लिश हे गला, ସେମାନେ ଏବେ କହିବେ ଏବେ फ्री ट्रेड करिया. ओके, फ्री ट्रेड जेहेतु करले କାହାକୁ ବେନିଫିଟ ହବ, ଏଇ ମୋନୋପୋଲି ଯିଏ କରିଛି ତାକୁ ହିଁ ବେନିଫିଟ ହବ. ओके, बिकॉज बाकी जो माने कंपिटिटर अछंती तामान तो मोनोपोली रे वीक अछंती. एबे जति फ्री ट्रेड स्टार्ट हे गला, ए मोनोपोली जो माने मोनोपोली रे अछंती सेही माने ही बेनिफिट हेबे. थर्ड स्टेज इज द फाइनेंस कैपिटलिज्म. ओके, फाइनेंस कैपिटलिज्म कोन, एबे माने ए स्टेज रे स्ट्रांग हे गले, एबे कोन एंटायर कंट्री रो जो फाइनेंस टाकू एबे माने कंट्रोल करिवे. तमे जानछो कार्ल मार्क्स जेंति कहितले, the base and superstructure model, the one who controls the economic structure controls everything. Okay, तो जे इकोनॉमी को कंट्रोल कला, जे पैसा को कंट्रोल कला, सी सब किछि कंट्रोल करिवो. ओके, तो ब्रिटिश कैपिटलिस्ट माने एई स्टेज रे, एई तीनटा स्टेज रे कॉलोनीज माने कंट्रोल करंती. फर्स्ट मोनोपोली एस्टैब्लिश करिवे, तापरे कहिवे जे फ्री ट्रेड करिवा. फ्री ट्रेड कले ई मोनोपोली को बेनिफिट हबो. फ्री ट्रेड कला परे आहुरी फ्री ट्रेड कला परे निजर से कॉलोनी की कंट्री रा फाइनेंस को पूरा कैप्चर कर देबे. दैट इज हाउ दे कैप्चर द इकोनॉमिक स्ट्रक्चर ऑफ ए कॉलोनी और ए कंट्री. ओके, तो इंडिया रे ए स्टेज टा केमिति हेइतला सेटा देखि दवा. ओके, आरपी दत्त हैज डेवलप्ड दिस थ्योरी. इंडिया रे कहितला फर्स्ट स्टेज द पीरियड ऑफ मर्चेंट कैपिटलिज्म और मर्केंटिलिज्म. दिस इज मर्केंटिलिज्म. ओपीसी हैज written it mercantilist. ओके, so mercantilism the period of, এটা ସବୁ ସ୍ପେକ୍ଟ୍ରମ ରେ ହିଁ ଅଛି. ଓକେ, ମୁଁ ଆଉ କୋଉଠୁ ଅପସନାଲ ପେପର କିଛି ଜିନିଷ ନୁହଁ, ଏଟା ଆମ ଜିଏସ୍ ର ପାର୍ଟି. ପିରିୟड ऑफ मर्चेंट कैपिटल और मर्केंटिलिज्म described as period of monopoly, okay, and direct appropriation. So period of East India Company between 1757 to 1813. तमरा चार्टर एक्ट ऑफ 1813 एटा कोन हितला हम देखिबा. ओके, so there were two objectives: to acquire monopoly of trade against other English or European merchants or the local merchants also. Again, during this period, no change introduced in administration, judicial system, transport or communication, or methods of agriculture production. Okay, जहाँ भी थिला सेमती ही चालू. Traditional India civilization जेम तला सेम चालू. Religious laws, caste system, family structure were not seen as obstacles in colonial exploitation. Okay, in this phase, there were large scale drain of wealth from India, which constituted about 2 to 3% of Britain's national income at that time. Okay, British national income at that time. So it was this wealth that played important role in financing British industrial revolution. Okay, so first तमे monopoly कर दलो. एबे मोनोपोली कर दलो एबे तमे कहबा हम फ्री ट्रेड करबा एबे फ्री ट्रेड कोन पाई करबा बिकॉज़ हम जेतु मोनोपोली अछि हमको ही बेनिफिट हबो सेकंड स्टेज इट इज द colonialization of free trade so it started with the charter act of 1813 charter act of 1813 रे गोटे प्रोविजन थला charter act of 1813 it abolished the trade monopoly of company in India and Indian trade was thrown open to all British merchants okay एबे कोन ईस्ट इंडिया कंपनी मोनोपोली कर देछि एबे कहला जे हां ठीक अछि अलगा ब्रिटिश मर्चेंट माने भी देखिले बहुत प्रॉफिट होछि इंडिया रे तो से माने भी एबे आसीबे फ्री ट्रेड करिवे ओके बट प्लीज नोट दैट ब्रिटिश ही ओनली फ्री ट्रेड करिवे अलगा को कंपनी कि फ्रेंच हो कि डच हो एमाने अलाउड नो केवल ब्रिटिश मर्चेंट मानो पाई ओके सो ब्रिटेन इज एक्टिंग एज ए इंस्ट्रूमेंट ऑफ द ब्रिटिश कैपिटलिस्ट क्लास ऑलराइट सो मोनो देखो मोनोपोली एबोलिश हेगला एबे फ्री ट्रेड India was thrown open to all British merchants, free trade ହେଇଗଲା, but it continued monopoly of company over trade in tea and trade with China. Okay, so China को consolidate करा ही नथला सेते पर्यंत तो monopoly को सेते बेले खोला ही नथला. Okay, second stage देखो colonialism of free trade started with Charter Act of 1813, continued till 1860s. Okay, so East India Company became ruler over most parts. Now debate in Britain as to whose interest the newly acquired colony would serve. So the newly acquired industrial capitalists began to criticize East India Company and its exploitation. Okay, so because they were not getting a part of, they are not getting their share of this exploitation, they wanted to be a part of this exploitation. Okay, so India will now serve British capitalist interest which are very different from those of East India Company. India was to serve as a market for ever increasing output of British manufactured goods, especially textiles. Okay, a phase re kon hala dominant features. India's economy was integrated with the British because the free trade hala. So India's economy was integrated with the British and the world capitalist economy. This was made possible by introduction of free trade. Import duties in India were either removed or drastically reduced to middle rates. Free entry granted to British capitalists. Tea, coffee, indigo, jaha bhi karo tame. Okay. British government gave active help to such capitalists. Permanent settlement territory system were introduced to transform traditional structure into capitalist structure. Okay, administration have change gala comprehensive, included villages and areas of the country. Why these changes were brought? It is to make the British goods rich and agricultural goods, agricultural products drawn from the interior villages and remote parts. Okay, personal law को touch करा गला नहीं since it did not affect colonial transformation, but changes were introduced in the criminal law, that is contract law, legal procedures were overhauled to promote the capitalist commercial relation. Okay, capitalism runs on contract. Okay, contract रे जदि लिखा है जी हमर एची agreement ହେଇतला तो agreement ହେଇतला माने you have to act according to that. Okay, otherwise you will be punished. Okay, modern education introduced करा गला provide cheap manpower aimed at transforming society and culture. Okay, so it gave birth to culture of loyalty to the rulers. India absorbed 10 to 12% of British exports and nearly 20% of Britain's textile exports. All right. So third stage होची जेमि मु कहली एबे फ्री ट्रेड पर देशर पूरा एंटायर फाइनेंशियल स्ट्रक्चर को की इकोनॉमी को पूरा कैप्चर कर दवार अछि. ओके, दैट इज द थर्ड स्टेज. Era of foreign investment and international competition for colonies. Okay, began around 1860s. Britain industrial supremacy was challenged by several other countries of Europe, US, and Japan. Okay, pace of industrialization increased sharply. Okay, due to modern technology, due to evolving technology of that time, world market became unified. Okay, during this stage, Britain made efforts to consolidate its control over India. ଏବେ पूरा इंडिया इकोनॉमी टाକୁ कंट्रोल कर दवार अछि. So again, liberal imperialist policies got replaced with reactionary imperialist policies, which are reflected in viceroyalties of Lytton, Dufferin, Lansdowne, okay, subsidiary alliance, जेमती, okay, and Curzon. The strengthening of colonial rule was meant to keep out rivals as well as attract British capital of India. Okay, तो एबे कोन ब्रिटिश कंट्रोल नहीं गला तमर फाइनेंस रो एबे से आहुरी प्रमोट कला कैपिटलिस्ट मान को आसिकी इंडिया रे इन्वेस्ट करो. इंडिया रे जते इन्वेस्ट करबो तम पैसा है आसिकी इन्वेस्ट हो जहां भी प्रॉफिट हो सेटा तुमको जीवो तो जते प्रॉफिट और इन्वेस्टमेंट हो तमर इंडिया ऊपर कंट्रोल सेते बढ़िबो तमर. ओके, attract British capital, provide security. Very large amount of British capital invested in railways, loans, trade, and to a lesser extent in plantations, coal mining, jute mills. Okay. So, and the notion of training Indian people for self-government vanished. It revived only after 1918 because of the international movement. The aim of British rule was to declare permanent trusteeship over the Indians. Okay. So, British will rule as a permanent trustee British will rule as a permanent trusteeship of the for the Indians. Indian manak by British man rule karibe. Indians are declared to be permanently immature, needing British control. Geography, climate, race, history, religion, culture, social organization were all cited as factors to call Indians unfit for self-government. Again, British tried to justify their rule, okay, in the name of civilizing a barbaric people, that is the white man's burden. Okay, so एमती stages रे ही हमारा ए stages of capitalism. See how capitalism leads to imperialism and imperialism leads to permanent servitude of a colony towards the host. Okay, so quite a parasitic relation. Okay, so it gala e question ta tomoro. Okay, e jo drain of wealth theory, I will attach the photo here. Main reason for peasants to join the 1857 revolt was, এটা simple question, এটা ସବୁବେଳେ ଆମେ ପଢୁଛେ, prelims ରେ ପଢୁଛେ, mains ରେ ପଢୁଛେ, ଏଥିରେ କିଛି କହିବାର ନାହିଁ. Inordinately high revenue demands, that is true. Revenue policies not only uprooted ordinary peasants but destroyed the gentry of the country. Gentry means the ଯୋଉଟା ଭଦ୍ର ଲୋକ କୁହନ୍ତି, ଯୋଉଟା middle class. Okay, gentry is the people of good social position in ranking. Okay, just below, but they are not as above as the nobles and zamindars. They are good social position, but just below the nobles and zamindars. Okay, so revenue policies not only uprooted the ordinary peasants but also destroyed this middle class. Gentry of the country means middle class. Zamindars actually helped the British during the 1857 revolt. Okay, but the gentry revolted. Beneficiaries of new revenue policies were not satisfactory. That is also true. So all of the above is the answer. Okay, ଏଥିରେ କିଛି କହିବାର ନାହିଁ, ଏଇଟା ତମେ ଜାଣିଛ. Okay, just a second. The only major industry in the hands of Indian capitalists during late 19th century was, okay, ତ ଏଇ ଜିନିଷଟା ବି ମୁଁ ଗୋଟେ ରିସର୍ଚ୍ଚ ପେପରରୁ ପାଇଲି, that is the cotton textile industry. Okay, ତ ଏଇ ଯୋଉ ଗୋଟେ ସେକେଣ୍ଡ. ଓକେ, ତ ବ୍ରିଟିଶର ବି ଗୋଟେ ମାନେ ଗୋଟେ ଇଣ୍ଡିଆର ଗୋଟେ ଟ୍ରେଡ ଫିଗର ମୁଁ ପାଇଥିଲି. ସେ ଅଲରାଇଟ୍, ସୋ ଏଇଠି ବି ଜାଗା ଅଛି, ମୁଁ ତମକୁ ଯେତେବେଳେ ଏଇ ଡକୁମେଣ୍ଟଟା ଦେବି ଏଇଠି ଗୋଟେ ଟ୍ରେଡ ଫିଗର ଦେଇଦେବି. ଓକେ, ଇଣ୍ଡିଆ's share of world trade during 1750 to 1947. କେମିତି ଆମର 1750s around time ରେ India was the manufacturing capital of the world, the industrial workshop of the world during 17th and 18th century, and India contributed about 20% of GDP of the world. But after the British exploitation, we were left with about 2% of the world GDP in 1947, ଯେତେବେଳେ ବ୍ରିଟିଶ ମାନେ ଛାଡ଼ିଲେ. ଓକେ, ତ ସେଇ ଫିଗରଟା ଗୋଟେ ତମର ମେନ୍ସ ରେ ବି ବହୁତ ୟୁଜ ହେଇପାରିବ. that will be quite helpful. ସେଟା ମୁଁ କରିଥିଲି ବଟ୍ ଏଟା ମୁଁ ଆଟାଚ୍ କରିନି, ବଟ୍ ଆଇ ୱିଲ୍ ଆଟାଚ୍ ଇଟ୍ ହିୟର and share it. Okay, so about the industry. History of modern Indian large-scale private industry began around 1850s and 1914. Okay, so ପଚାରିଛି କ'ଣ ଆମର late 19th century ମାନେ ତମର 1870s ରୁ 1900 ଭିତରେ. Okay, ତ history of modern large-scale private industry between 1850 and 1914 associated with developments in plantations like jute, cotton, and steel. All right. So there was also a limited development of mining, especially coal. One of the thing is most of these industries, except the textile factories, were under European control. Okay, textile factories गुड़ा ही Indian capitalist मानक control रे ही थिला. So major industry in the hands of Indian capitalists was cotton textiles. European control in the early days, Indian raw jute had been in great demand in Dundee mills. Dundee, this is a place in, this is a city in Scotland. Okay, jute was in demand in Dundee mills. Okay, so jute manufacturing and the credit for jute spinning farm in Bengal, that is Sirampur, went to George Ackland, who was a Scottish. Okay, foundation of cotton textile, foundation of cotton industry was dominated by foreigners. Okay, but it was saved and cared by the natives, mainly the Parsi entrepreneurs. Okay, Parsi entrepreneurs की तमरो जो Parsi होंतु, otherwise the Gujarati, Marwadi. Okay, this cotton textile industry Parsis, Gujaratis, okay, Marwadis, and the Bohra Muslims. Okay, so they were the natives who took over the cotton textile production in India. Okay, that was the only industry in the late 19th century that was with the Indian capitalists. बाकी सब हमारा British ने जाइए this cotton textile industry they were concentrated. Okay, they were concentrated in areas of Bombay and Ahmedabad. All right. So cotton textiles तमरो बॉम्बे एंड अहमदाबाद रे प्राय कंसंट्रेशन थला. So again तमरो जो देखि जूट हला जूट तो तमे देखिला जूट नथला. आयरन एंड स्टील भी नुह because the Jamshedpur जो steel company हला Tata Iron and Steel Company, that is TISCO, it was established in 1907 by the Tatas. Okay, this is 1907 in the early 20th century, but এটা ପଚାରିଛି late 19th century. Okay, ତ ତମେ ବି ଯଦି ତମ ସ୍ପେକ୍ଟ୍ରମ ରେ ପଢିଥିବ ତମର ଗାନ୍ଧୀ ଯେତେବେଳେ ତାଙ୍କର ଫାଷ୍ଟ ହଙ୍ଗର ଷ୍ଟ୍ରାଇକ୍ କରିଥିଲେ, so it was in Ahmedabad. Okay, Ahmedabad ରେ, so he supported the mill workers against Indian capitalists only. Okay, ଯେମିତି ତମେ ଜାଣିଛ okay, ଏଇଟା ତମର ସ୍ପେକ୍ଟ୍ରମ ରୁ ହିଁ ଉଠେଇଛି. Workers of the mill turned to Anusaya Sarabhai who was fighting for justice. Anusaya Sarabhai was a social worker who was the sister of Ambalal Sarabhai, one of the mill owners and president of the Ahmedabad Mill Owner Association, founded in 1891. See, 1891, this is the late 19th century. Okay, to develop the textile industry of Ahmedabad and help in fighting justice. Okay, it was Anusaya Sarabhai who later on formed the Ahmedabad Textile Labor Association in 1920. Okay, तो तमे एठु भी तमे जानि परियो हंगर स्ट्राइक जो करथिले गांधी. So he did it for the workers against the Indian capitalists. Okay, तो 1891. Alright, तो एठु भी तमे गोटे हिंट पाई परिबो. तमर पेरिफेरल नॉलेज में ही तमे एटा सॉल्व करि परिबो. So who was the sister of Ambalal Sarabhai? So this Ambalal Sarabhai. Okay, so he is the father of Vikram Sarabhai. ଯେମିତି ଆମର ବିକ୍ରମ ସାରାଭାଇ ସ୍ପେସ୍ ଷ୍ଟେସନ ଅଛି. ଓକେ, ବିକ୍ରମ ସାରାଭାଇ he launched the Indian space program. ଓକେ, ତ ଏଇଟା ଗୋଟେ ତମର ୱେବ ସିରିଜ ଅଛି ରକେଟ ବଏଜ. ସୋ ଦିସ୍ ଏଥିରେ ତମର ବିକ୍ରମ ସାରାଭାଇ ଆଉ ତମର ଯୋଉ न्यूक्लियर साइंटिस्ट होमी बाबा. ओके, तांको ऊपर ए वेब सीरीज टा अछि. दिस इज ए गुड वेब सीरीज, इफ यू हैव टाइम यू कैन वॉच. मु सेही तो जान ली जे विक्रम साराभाई अंबालाल साराभाई कर ही पुओ. ओके, एंड अनुसया साराभाई शी इज द ऑन टॉप विक्रम साराभाई. ओके, तो एइथि भी तमे गोटे पेरिफेरल नॉलेज रो तमे मे बी कॉटन टेक्सटाइल ऊपर क्लिक करि पाइबो. ओके, बट इट इज क्वाइट डिफिकल्ट टू डू सो इन द एग्जाम. ओके, दैट आई एडमिट. ओके, एंड ए जो again तमे देखिलो ब्रिटिश माने जेमती हमर इंडियन माने इंडिया रे कैपिटलिस्ट क्लास को फास्ट रखिथिले कंट्रोल रे. बट ड्यूरिंग दी 1887 रे तमर जेमती बेंगल चैम्बर ऑफ कॉमर्स तयारी हला, तब इंडियन मर्चेंट्स चैम्बर ऑफ बॉम्बे हला 1907 रे. सो दिस events show that Indian businessmen they were declaring their independence from British by the beginning of 20th century also. Okay, so this was all about this question. Next question is All India Women's Conference was started in 1927. Okay, 1927 All India Women's Conference. Spectrum to direct question tamara. All India Women Conference was founded by Margaret Cousins in 1927. Margaret Elizabeth Cousins in 1927. It was the perhaps the first women organization with egalitarian approach. Okay, the egalitarian approach माने इतरे सब सब society ना सब section रो women माने they were participating. Okay, and All India Women's Conference, this is functional till date. Okay, आज भी एटा अच्छी, founded by Margaret Cousins in 1927. First conference Ferguson College in Pune ହେଇଥିଲା. Okay, important founding members Sarojini Naidu and Kamala Devi Chattopadhyay, Leti Dorabji Tata. Okay, objective कौन था? To work for a society based on principle of social justice, integrity, equal rights and opportunities, secure for every human being the essential of life, not determined by accident of birth or sex, but by planned social distribution. Okay, socialism through. Okay, secure for every human being. Title थिला All India Women's Conference, but they did not discriminate between male or female. Okay, not determined by accident of birth or sex. Okay, so they work towards various legislative reforms like passing the Sarda Act. This is the age of marriage bill, age of marriage related to age of marriage. Hindu Women Right to Property Act, Hindu Marriage and Divorce Act, Minority Guardianship Act. Okay, immoral traffic, dowry provision, equal remuneration act. देखो तमें independence ପରେ भी they are active. Okay, they are also active till now. All right, this is all about the All India Women's Conference. ଟିକେ ବି ତମେ common sense use କଲେ ତମେ ଏଇ question ଟା କରିପାରିବ। ଯେମିତି first ଅଛି 1927 ରେ ପଚାରିଛି ତ promotes women education. Okay, this may be true. Increase women's share in legislature. Okay, ତ ସେତେବେଳେ ଏତେ ନଥିଲା ଏଇ matter ଟା ଏତେ issue ନଥିଲା ତ this is the wrong option. Women employment. Okay, employment ବି ଏତେ issue ନଥିଲା ସେତେବେଳେ. Okay, this is also not the correct option. Campaign for women voting rights. Okay, ଯେମିତି ତମର ଆମର last session ରେ ତମର 2018 question ରେ ମୁଁ ତମକୁ କହିଛି ଯେମିତି Indian women got voting rights in the Montagu Chelmsford reforms of 1919. Okay, women voting rights in the Montagu Chelmsford reforms of 1919 ରେ ଏଥିରେ women have already got voting rights in 1919 ତ 1927 ରେ start ହେଇଛି ତ ଏଇଟା ତ definitely ହବନି so this seems likely promote women education because ସେଇ time ରେ ହିଁ ବହୁତ ଗୁଡେ social movement ଚାଲିଥିଲା that advocated for women education okay ତ ଏ ହିଁ answer ହବ ତ A is the answer okay so who among the following was not included in INA trial held in Delhi in 1945 to 46 okay not included ପଚାରିଛି ତ ଏଇଟା ବି ତମେ ଜାଣିଥିବ ସ୍ପେକ୍ଟ୍ରମ ରୁ ହିଁ ଡାଇରେକ୍ଟ GS Dillon, Prem Sehgal, Mohan Singh. Mohan Singh was not included. Shahnawaz Khan was included. Okay. Mohan Singh is the answer. ୟାଙ୍କ ଉପରେ ଟିକେ ଦେଖିଦେବା ଆଇଏନଏ ଟ୍ରାଏଲ୍ସ ଓକେ ତ ଟିକେ ଆଇଏନଏ ଉପରେ ଫାଷ୍ଟ ଟିକେ ଦେଖିଦେବା ଓକେ ଦି ଆଇଡିଆ ଅଫ କ୍ରିଏଟିଂ ଆର୍ମି ଆଉଟ୍ ଅଫ ଇଣ୍ଡିଆନ୍ ପ୍ରିଜନର୍ସ ଅଫ ୱାର୍ originally was that of Mohan Singh okay ତ ଦେଖ ତମର ୱାର୍ଲଡ ୱାର ଚାଲିଥିଲା ୱାର୍ଲଡ ୱାର 2 ଓକେ ୱାର୍ଲଡ ୱାର 2 ତାର କେତେରୁ କେତେ 1939 ରୁ 1945 ଓକେ ୱାର୍ଲଡ ୱାର 2 ଏଇ ଟାଇମ ରେ ଚାଲିଥିଲା ତ ସେଇ ଟାଇମ ରେ ଆମର କ୍ୱିଟ୍ ଇଣ୍ଡିଆ ମୁଭମେଣ୍ଟ ବି ହେଇଥିଲା 1942 ରେ ଅଲରାଇଟ୍ ତ ୱାର୍ଲଡ ୱାର 2 ଟାଇମ ରେ ତମର ଜାପାନ ୱାଜ ଫାଇଟିଂ ଏଗେନ୍ଷ୍ଟ Japan was fighting against Britain. Okay, so Japan was gradually capturing area like the Malay Peninsula, Singapore, तमरो अंडमान एंड निकोबार भी कैप्चर कर जाइतला. So Japan was gradually proceeding towards the northeast India. Okay, so while capturing territory after territory from British, okay, the गोटा idea था जे to create an army of Indian prisoners of war was that of Mohan Singh. Okay, Mohan Singh was an Indian army officer who decided not to join the retreating British army in Malaya. Okay, Malayan Peninsula जोटा एबे मलेशिया तो सेठी ब्रिटिश हारला पर रिट्रीट करिगले तो जापान रे इंडिया रो इंडियन ट्रुप्स जो माने पार्टिसिपेट करथले ब्रिटिश आर्मी रे तो सेमाने कहले जे आमे एबे जापान संगे लडिबु ओके जापान सहित लडिबु against British okay so he decided to turn the Japanese for help Japanese had encouraged Indian civilians to form anti-British organization okay the so upon hearing Mohan Singh's proposals the Japanese handed over Indian prisoners of war to Mohan Singh okay Singapore भी fall करिगला several prisoners of war were ready to join Mohan Singh by end of 1942 about 40,000 men were ready to join INA okay but it was but okay they were intended to join INA they wanted that they would go into action in India only on the invitation of Indian National Congress and the people of India okay against British rule okay so but this army was seen as a okay again এটা ଗୋଟେ theory ଯେ Indian ମାନେ ଯେହେତୁ ବ୍ରିଟିଶ ଙ୍କ support ରେ ଲଢୁଥିଲେ ଏବେ ହାରଲା ପରେ they will get mistreated by the Japanese people so it is a theory that INA ଟା ତିଆରି ହେଇଥିଲା as a check against misconduct of Japanese against Indians in Southeast Asia okay to again it acted as a bulwark against possible future Japanese occupation of India ଯଦି ଦେଖ ଜାପାନିଜ ମାନେ ଧୀରେ ଧୀରେ proceed କରୁଥିଲେ ଗୋଟେ ଗୋଟେ ଟେରିଟୋରୀ କ୍ୟାପଚର କରୁଥିଲେ ଯଦି ଜାପାନିଜ ମାନେ ଇଣ୍ଡିଆ କ୍ୟାପଚର କରିଥାନ୍ତେ ତ INA was a bulwark against the possible future Japanese invasion okay INA got boost with the outbreak of Quit India movement all right so first division was formed in September 19 okay এটা তো নয় first division was formed in 16,300 men but soon differences arose between Indian army officers led by Mohan Singh and the Japanese over role to be played by INA okay the Japanese wanted a small force of about 2,000 men. Okay, but Mohan Singh wanted to raise a much larger number. Okay, and they also Japanese also feared that ଯଦି ଏମାନେ ବେଶୀ large ହେଇଯିବେ they can give a challenge to the Japanese forces also. Okay, ଏଇଟା ଗଲା first phase. Mohan Singh was taken into custody. Second phase of INA began with arrival of Subhash Chandra Bose in Singapore. Okay, Subhash Chandra Bose had adopted the pseudonym Abid Hussain and reached Tokyo and met the Japanese Prime Minister Tojo. Okay, so he wanted to take control of the Indian National Army. Okay, so Raj Bihari Bose को भी ଟିକେ role थी Okay, Raj Bihari Bose, So he was involved in a bomb attack on Viceroy Hardinge. Okay, he was involved in a bomb attack on Viceroy Hardinge. This is called the Delhi conspiracy case. Okay, Delhi conspiracy case. It occurred in 1912 when there was attempt to assassinate Viceroy by a bomb thrown by Basant Kumar Biswas. Okay, so bomb was thrown by Basant Kumar Biswas. Okay, so he was affiliated to Anushilan Samiti. Okay, co-occasion, co-occasion So there is a procession through Chandni Chowk in December 1912 that was being held to commemorate the transfer of capital of British India from Kolkata to Delhi. Okay, so the procession from Lord Hardinge by Basant Kumar Biswas. So trial re Basant Kumar Biswas, Amir Chand and Awadh Bihari were convicted and executed. Raj Bihari Bose was known as the person behind this plan, but he evaded arrest. Okay, after evading arrest, Raj Bihari Bose, he was also engaged with the Gadar party, and then he went on to Japan and became a naturalized citizen in Japan. Okay, so he had fled Japan in 1915. As we have seen, Raj Bihari became a naturalized citizen. He also married a Japanese and had a family. Okay, so he made a lot of effort in getting Japanese interested in Indian independence movement. He became active in Pan Asian. He founded the Indian Club of Tokyo. Okay, please note, it is question as per Indian Club of Tokyo was founded by Raj Bihari Bose. He gave lectures on evils of Western imperialism. Okay, so Raj Bihari Bose was excited and left Tokyo for INA formation hala. Raj Bihari Bose was excited and left Tokyo for Southeast Asia. It was at a conference in Bangkok. Okay. But a Bangkok conference, it was decided to place INA under Indian Independence League. Okay. Indian Independence League. Okay. Indian Club of Tokyo or Indian Independence League. These were founded by Raj Bihari Bose. Okay. So whose chairman would be Raj Bihari Bose himself. Okay. INA chairman have Raj Bihari Bose. So he had created this league in 1942 in Tokyo also. Okay, Indian Independence League. This was created by Raj Bihari Bose in Tokyo. So again, it was decided that INA ର charge ଦିଆଯିବ Raj Bihari Bose କୁ. Okay, when Subhash Bose, Subhash Bose was shot by INA. When Subhash Bose went to Singapore and met Raj Bihari Bose, Raj Bihari Bose transferred the control and leadership of Indian Independence League to INA to Subhash in July 1943. Okay, so it was on the organizational groundwork done by Raj Bihari Bose that Subhash Bose could build up the Indian National Army. Okay, so ଏଇଟା ହେଲା Indian National Army. Okay, ତାପରେ ତମର we know that Hiroshima Nagasaki ଉପରେ ଆଟମ ବମ୍ ପଡିଗଲା, ତାପରେ ଜାପାନ ସରେଣ୍ଡର କରିଗଲା. Okay, ତାପରେ ତମର ବ୍ରିଟେନରେ ଏବେ litigation ତିଆରି ହେଲା ଯୋଉମାନେ INA ରେ participate କରିଥିଲେ. Okay, so INA agitation, there was a campaign for release of INA prisoners. तो ब्रिटेन चाहिए INA ର prisoner ଯୋଉମାନେ ସବୁ participate କରିଥିଲେ war ରେ against British ତାଙ୍କୁ punish କରାଯାଉ. But there was a campaign in India against for the release of INA prisoners. Public meeting ହେଲା celebration of INA day from November 12, 1945. Okay, ଏଇ ଦିନ ହିଁ ତମର trial ଟା ହେଇଥିଲା INA trial. तो please note ଏଇ ଟା ବି ତମକୁ may be ପଚାରି ଦେଇ ପାରେ question, what is INA day? এই INA week ହଉଛି ନଭେମ୍ବର 5 ରୁ 11 5 ରୁ 11 INA week ତିଆରି କରାଗଲା ଲୋକଙ୍କ ମଧ୍ୟରେ awareness ସ୍ପ୍ରେଡ କରାଗଲା ଯେ INA members ମାନଙ୍କୁ execute ନ କରାଯାଉ 5 ରୁ 11 ଗୋଟେ ସପ୍ତାହ ତାପରେ INA day is 12th November 1945. Okay, INA week 5 ରୁ 11 November 1945. Mass pressure against the trial against INA prisoner of war sometimes described as an age of a volcano. ଏଇଟା ବି ମନେ ରଖ, age of a volcano was referred to which event? The INA trials. Okay, British had initially decided to hold public trial, okay, of several hundreds of INA prisoners, besides dismissing them from active duty, detaining them without trial also. Okay, so British ଭାବିଥିଲେ ତମେ ଏମିତି କଲେ ଆମେ will set an example. Okay, but they did it fully by holding the first trial at the Red Fort in Delhi in November 1945, as you have seen, November 12, 1945, and putting on dock together a Hindu, Prem Sehgal, Muslim, that is Shahnawaz Khan, and a Sikh, that is Gurbakh Singh Dhillon. Okay, तो इटा ब्रिटिश कर थिला भूल. Okay, तो ସେଇଥିରୁ ଏଇ क्वेश्चन ଟା ଆସିଛି. Who was not included in INA trial? That is Mohan Singh. He was the, please note, he original, the idea of creating the INA was originally that of Mohan Singh. Okay, Mohan Singh was founder of INA. Okay, तो गला एक क्वेश्चन टा गला तमर. I think I have said everything about this question. Now comes the question number 29. तो ଏବେ ଦେଖ PYQ କରିବାର importance କଣ ତମର OCS 2018 ରେ question number 29 ରେ ପଚାରିଥିଲା least cost approach is associated with ତମର option ଥିଲା crystallar. Okay, ତା next ବର୍ଷ ତମକୁ theory of central places was propounded by crystallar is the answer. Okay, crystallar ରୁ ହିଁ ପଢି ଦେଇଛି. Okay, ତ central places theory କ୍ରିଷ୍ଟାଲଙ୍କର ସେଣ୍ଟ୍ରାଲ ପ୍ଲେସ୍ ଥିଓରି ୱାର୍ଲଡ କ୍ରିଷ୍ଟାଲ ଏଟା ମୁଁ ଅଲରେଡି କହିଛି ତମର ପ୍ରିଭିୟସ୍ ସେସନ ରେ, ସୋ ୟୁ କ୍ୟାନ୍ ୱାଚ୍ ଇଟ୍. ଓକେ, ତମର ଅପସନ ଗୁଡା ବି ଥିଲା ୱେବର, ସ୍ମିଥ, ହାଡସନ. ଓକେ, ଏଠି ବି ସେମିତି ୱେବର ଦେଇଛି. A Weber is Alfred Weber. Alfred Weber, as we have seen in the last class, he gave the industrial location theory or the least cost theory. Okay, least cost theory that is dealing with the industrial location କୋଉଠି ରହିବ, industrial location କୋଉଠି ରହିବ ଯଦି we compare with the market, raw material, labor, କୋଉଠୁ ରଖିଲେ industry ରଖିଲେ optimized cost ଆସିବ କି lowest cost ଆସିବ. ଓକେ, ଏଟା ମୁଁ ଲାଷ୍ଟ କ୍ଲାସ୍ ରେ ବି ଏକ୍ସପ୍ଲେନ୍ କରିଛି. ଓକେ, so next option ଦେଇଛି von Thunen, von Thunen ଦେଇଛି. von Thunen ବି ଆମେ ଲାଷ୍ଟ କ୍ଲାସ୍ ରେ ଦେଖିଛେ, but ସେଟା ଗୋଟେ ଅଲଗା କ୍ୱେଶ୍ଚିନ୍ ରେ ଥିଲା. ଓକେ, yes. Okay, von Thunen करो तमरो locational rent theory. von Thunen locational rent theory, model of agricultural location, we have already discussed in question number 37. von Thunen, so this is the importance of PYQs. Okay, von Thunen गला आ गोटे रहला ISAT. तमरो ISAT टा हमें डिस्कस करना, एटा देखि दबा. W crystallar is Walter Crystallar. A Weber is Alfred Weber. Okay, ISAT Isard is Walter Isard. Walter Isard. Okay, so okay, just a second. Okay, so এটা ମୁଁ assign କରିନଥିଲି, okay, attach କରିନଥିଲି page ଟା. So Walter Isard has applied Weber's model in USA for weight losing industry. Okay, so all the iron and steel industries found in cluster which are similar to optimum location is delivered by Weber. Weber ଆମେ ଯେମିତି ଦେଖିଲେ list cost theory କି industrial location theory, ସେଇଟାକୁ ସେ USA context ରେ analyze କରିଛନ୍ତି Walter Isard. All iron and steel industries found in a cluster. Okay, so ଦେଖ ତମର major manufacturing regions of North America, ତମର ଆମେରିକାର ମ୍ୟାନୁଫ୍ୟାକ୍ଚରିଂ ବେଲ୍ଟ ଯୋଉଟା କି ମେଜର ଇଣ୍ଡଷ୍ଟ୍ରି, ଏଇଟା ଗୋଟେ ବେଲ୍ଟ. ତ ଏଇ ବେଲ୍ଟ ରେ ତମର ଯେମିତି ର ମେଟେରିଆଲ ବି ଅଛି, ତମର ମାର୍କେଟ କୁ ବି ଆକ୍ସେସ ଅଛି, ପୋର୍ଟ ସବୁ ବହୁତ ଗୁଡେ ଅଛି that provides access to market. ତମର ର ମେଟେରିଆଲ ବି ଅଛି, ତମର ଲେବର ବି ଏଠି ମିଳିବ, ଚିପ୍ ଲେବର. ଓକେ, ସୋ ଦ୍ୟାଟ୍ସ ୱାଇ ଗୋଟେ ପ୍ରକାର ଇଣ୍ଡଷ୍ଟ୍ରି ମାନେ ଅଲ ମେଜର ଇଣ୍ଡଷ୍ଟ୍ରି ଏଇଠି କନସେନ୍ଟ୍ରେଟ ହେଇଛି. ସେମିତି ଅଲଗା ଅଲଗା ଇଣ୍ଡଷ୍ଟ୍ରି ଆକର୍ଡିଂ ଟୁ ଦ୍ୟାଟ୍ ୱେବର କ ହିଁ ଲୋକେସନାଲ କଷ୍ଟ ରୁ ହିଁ କନସେନ୍ଟ୍ରେସନ ସବୁ ହେଇଛି. ଓକେ, पोर्ट्स एपटे देख पोर्ट को सब एक्सेस अच्छी से बहुत सब समुद्र पाखे ही सब इंडस्ट्री गुड़ा लोकेशन अच्छी. ओके, सो W Isard he applied Weber's model in USA. Okay, so W Isard he was a activity देखी था, he is the founder of regional science. Founder of regional science, that is about location modeling, transportation, trade and migration, land use and urban development. Also he is the founder of peace studies and peace economics. Okay, so he's an American economist. All right, so voilà, এটা আমরা দেখিলে this was the option. Now comes the last question for today. Okay, so Deji, who is credited to have discovered the West Indies? West Indies को किए discuss करते हैं. So देखो एचरे भी ऑप्शन भूल ही देइछि, तमरा स्पेलिंग भूल ही देइछि. एटा चाबट होबनी. Okay, it is cabot. Answer is Columbus. तो सब ऑप्शन ऊपर टिके देख दो. कैप्टन कुक, also called James Cook, is a British navigator and explorer who explored the Pacific Ocean and several islands in the region. He is credited for the first European to discover the Hawaiian Islands. Okay, 1728 to 1779. English, England. Okay, so he mapped several island groups in Pacific. First European who encountered the Hawaiian Islands. Okay, again Cook discovered the New Zealand as an island. Okay, New Zealand को discover करता Cook, James Cook. He also discovered and charted the coastlines from Arctic to Antarctic, east coast of Australia and west coast of North America, plus hundreds of islands in between them. Okay, तो तुम्हारे यदि world political map भी देखियो, तुम्हारा these are the Cook Islands. Those belong to New Zealand. These Cook Islands are named after Australia. तुम्हारे इठी Cook Islands in Pacific Ocean. So these Cook Islands are discovered by James Cook. Okay, those are named after him. Then comes John Cabot. John Cabot. So he was an Italian navigator and explorer. So he in 1497, right, he made a voyage to the coast of North America from England. Okay, King England, earliest known European exploration of coastal North America since the Norse visits of 11th century. Okay, तो देखो ये ब्रिटेन एठी अछि, नॉर्थ अमेरिका एठी अछि. ओके, जॉन कैबट कोन करथले ब्रिटेन रो किंग ताको स्पॉन्सर करथले ट्रिप टाको. He started this journey outward voyage. He started from here and went to here. This area is called the Newfoundland. Okay, Newfoundland एठु आसले पुनी ए कोस्टल को एक्सप्लोर करथले. तापर पुनी he made return voyage here. Okay, एमजी आसी यूरोप गले, तापर पुनी ब्रिटेन रे पहुंचले. Okay, this is the return voyage. तमरो ancient times रे कोन होतला, तमरो Norse people are the currently the Scandinavian people. Okay, so they made this voyage. ସେମାନେ ଆगे ଆଇସଲ୍ୟାଣ୍ଡ କୁ ଯାଉଥିଲେ, ତାପରେ ଗ୍ରୀନଲ୍ୟାଣ୍ଡ ରହୁଥିଲେ, ତାପରେ ଏଠି ଆସୁଥିଲେ. ଓକେ, ସୋ ସେମାନେ ଆଗରୁ ଏଠିକି ଆସିଥିଲେ, ଆମେରିକାକୁ ଆସିଥିଲେ, ବଟ୍ ଓକେ ଏଠି ଦେଖ, he is the earliest known European exploration of coastal North America since the Norse visits in the 11th century. 11th century ରେ ନର୍ସ ଲୋକମାନେ ଯାଉଥିଲେ ସେ ଯୋଉ ତମର ସ୍କାଣ୍ଡିନାଭିଆନ କଣ୍ଟ୍ରିଜ ରୁ ନର୍ଥ ଆମେରିକା. ସୋ ହି ଆଫ୍ଟର ଦିସ୍ 11th century ମାନେ ତମର ତାପରେ 100 ବର୍ଷ ପରେ କି 500 ବର୍ଷ ପରେ 1490 ରେ ଜନ୍ କ୍ୟାବଟ as the European, he undertook this voyage across the Atlantic. Okay, so route of 1497 voyage. Okay, so this is all about John Cabot. Then comes Henry Hudson. So he's an explorer. Present day, he explored the present day Canada and northeastern United States. Okay, born in England. Okay, so Hudson became the first European to see the Hudson Strait and the immense Hudson Bay. Okay, तो तमे देखो एटा होची the border between USA and Canada. All right, so एटा होची Canada रे गोटे Hudson Bay अछि. Hudson Bay को केमती पसिबो, तमे Labrador Sea through Hudson Strait अछि. Okay, Hudson Strait, Hudson Bay. So he was this Hudson Bay and Hudson Strait is named after Henry Hudson. All right, so he is also navigator from England. Okay, navigator from England. So this is the Hudson Strait and Hudson Bay. Again, Newfoundland Island. Okay, this is the Newfoundland Island. As you all know, this is the Newfoundland Island. This is not part of USA. This is part of Canada today. Okay, this is part of Canada. এটা গলা তোমার next Christopher Columbus. As you know, he is credited for discovering the America in 1492. Although we know that people were there long before him, his achievement was he opened the door for exploration of new world. Okay, यांकर एई पाथ पर कोलंबस गला पर तमरो यूरोप और अमेरिका भितर बहुत ट्रेड बढ़ी गला. Okay, 1401 to 1506 he was also an Italian. With the discovery of Americas, he purposed his voyage is to find a passage to Asia. So actually, he intended that he was going to discover India. Okay, he wanted to find India, find a passage to Asia by sailing west, but he never accomplished this mission. His exploration mostly included the Caribbean and parts of Central and South America. Okay, all of which was already inhabited by native groups. Okay, so Columbus चाहूले इटाली रू यूएसए को आसीबे, बट से भाबथिले जे मु इंडिया जाके पहुंचीबी. ओके, बट से फास्ट आसीकी तमरो एडी जेंति देखिले से कैरिबियन रे पहुंचिले. ओके, कैरिबियन को जेहेतु आसीले से एगुडा को इंडिया फास्ट भाबुथिले, तापर से अमेरिका को गले. सो दिस टू अवॉइड दिस कंफ्यूजन, these islands were called West Indies. Okay, इंडिया तो एपटे अच्छे ना ईस्ट रे, तो ये भाबुथिले जेहेतु हम इंडिया पहुंची अछि, so these islands were called West Indies. Okay, West Indies. तो this here तांको कोलंबस को नारे तमर एठी जो देखो तमर जो एई जो आइलैंड उडा रहिले वेस्ट इंडीज रो एई जो आइलैंड उडा, these are called the Caribbean islands. Okay, so here एठी देखि दियो तमर एई जो आइलैंड उडा रहिले they are called the Caribbean islands. There are 13 such islands called the Caribbean islands bordering the Caribbean Sea. Okay, Caribbean Sea bordering the Caribbean Sea. तमर एई जगह रे एटा be included in Caribbean islands. This is Trinidad and Tobago. Okay, Trinidad and Tobago ए वर्ष न्यूज रे अछि because of the प्रवासी भारतीय दिवस. Okay, I have said about this in the last session. प्रवासी भारतीय दिवस में Trinidad and Tobago न्यूज रे अछि. Okay, Trinidad और Tobago तमरो Trinidad Tobago मझरे this is Venezuela आउ Trinidad and Tobago भितरे जो जगहटा रहिला ए जो स्ट्रेट रहिला, this is called the ये जो स्ट्रेट रहिला, this is called the Columbus Strait, named after Christopher Columbus. Columbus Strait or the Columbus Channel. Okay, this place Columbus Strait आउ तमरो ई जो गल्फ टा रहिला, this gulf is called the Gulf of Paria. Okay, this is the Gulf of Paria, and it is from South America. This is Guyana. Okay, Guyana and एपटे कोलंबिया रहिबो. तो गल्फ ऑफ परिया कि एडा सब कहते बिकॉज मे बी एटा न्यूज रे अछि ए प्लेस टा, तो या पाख पाख टिके जानि दवा तुम दरकार. ओके, so this is all about Christopher Columbus and his voyage. Okay, so I think this much for today.